To Trojans Live, Jordan Moore, John Jackson, ready to talk some volleyball now with your new women's volleyball head coach. Time to meet Brent Crouch, who's already started the season 3-0, so that's a good way to introduce yourself to the Trojan fans, is win a bunch of matches right at the top. But take us back to when you got hired, and your first priority as coming in here as the head coach was to do what?
Yeah, my first priority was to connect with the returners. And connect with the players that were verbally committed and signed in LIs. So it was almost entirely about building relationships right away with the players, trying to get some trust established. And trust takes quite a while to build. And so we talked a little bit about trying to skip over that time frame, try to ramp it up a little bit, and do that by just starting by just deciding to trust one another. And the players honored me with that. I think they were really welcoming right away and eager to learn the things we were teaching. Systems and things are a little bit different than what was going on in the past, and they've just been fantastic. And I thought the relationship started off really nicely.
So when you got the coaching job, or when you were interviewing, did you just slam your resume down and say, "Look, here's what I've done"? Because when I looked at your accomplishments, you were the 2016 West Coast Conference Coach of the Year, but you inherited a team in Portland that was winless when you took over, and then of course they made major strides. Of course, to the point where you were named, the coach of the conference. What is the key to turning a program around? I mean, I know USC isn't winless and needs to be totally turned around, but they need to improve. What is the key to getting that kind of production and improvement?
Yeah, I think it comes back to relationships. So, the healthier the relationship is with your players, the more that they know that you care about them as people, and so on, the quicker the buy-in's going to be with the systems that you put in place and the fundamentals, and they'll allow you to push them harder, knowing that it's coming from a place that is about these players can be fantastic, and they don't know how good they can be. And if you hold that mirror up to them of, this is what you can be when you do X, Y, and Z, and they'll be with you, almost from the beginning. And so I think that's still the key: the relationships with players right away, and then they'll let you push them, and you go from there.
You're listening to Brent Crouch, the head coach of women's volleyball, USC women's volleyball on Trojans Live. Digging a little bit deeper into your bio, you have a background as a philosophy professor. So, how has that helped inform you and inform your coaching style over the years?
Yeah, great question. I've been teaching or coaching both for over 20 years, and have dealt with this age group for that long. And look, I think all really, really good coaches are teachers. And having any kind of background in teaching education is really going to help you.
Yeah.
And so that piece really helped. And philosophy in general, I think, is kind of a nice background for head coaches in particular. It just kind of lets you see things as a whole and kind of from the top down, and that's been great.
Let's zero in on this team in particular. Jordan mentioned you're off to the 3-0 start, so it doesn't get any better than that. But what are you seeing from this team in terms of talent level, in terms of where they're at now and where you think this team will be in the future?
Yeah, I think we've got an incredible group of players that are playing right now. Kalia and Brooke on the outside, and our new setter, Raquel, just did a great job this weekend. And the talent level is there. The athleticism is there for this team to do really well. But I think we're going to unleash them once they get some new habits in place, different kind of movement patterns, and they figure out how to run the kind of offense we want to run and the defense that we want to do. It's all based on reading, and so it takes a little while to kind of figure out the read situations. But I think it was great to have a great weekend right away. But there's a lot of room to grow with this group this year, and I expect us to be clicking at a much higher level at the end of the season.
Yeah, stay with that. We don't mind talking a little nitty-gritty football, so let's talk a little nitty-gritty X's and O's volleyball. Try and describe your system for us, and what makes you different than maybe what we were playing here before.
Yeah, we're trying to run an offense that's fast, and we're trying to run it fast from situations that aren't necessarily perfect. So what we mean by that is passes that aren't necessarily perfect right in the net. It's easy to run a fast offense when you've got a perfect first contact. It's harder when things are being moved around a little bit. And at any level, all the way through the Olympics, nobody's going to pass perfect. 50% of the time, 40% of the time, things are going to be medium or less. And to be able to have hitters that are able to read those kind of situations and then audible into certain play sets means we can still go fast from everywhere, and we really like that. Defense, again, is all about the blocking. It's not about go here and just stand here and block. It's about, again, reading the situation on the other side of the net and then making some appropriate decisions that way. So if we have middle blockers like we have right now in the middle, I think we can get multiple blockers up all over the place no matter where the set is. And that piece of the defense is going to take the longest to get really good at because it's the most complicated, but we started off pretty well already blocking, but I think by the end of the season that's going to be a major growth area.
You have a couple of players that have had outstanding weekends. Brooke ends up being the Pac-12 Player of the Week, right? And Raquel ends up being, who's a setter, had an outstanding weekend herself in her freshman debut. Two very young players, obviously, being a sophomore and a freshman. Talk about just their performance in terms of getting, I mean, obviously you started off on the right foot, but you're getting production from such young players on this team. Yeah,
I mean, Raquel, we knew was going to be a good player, but, she literally arrived from Spain 3 weeks ago. So we had really no idea what she would do when she actually stepped onto the floor in Galen, and there's, all the fans cheering, and you got number 5 on the other side of the net, and she literally has spent 3 weeks with players on her own team. And she just exceeded everything that we could have hoped for the first weekend.
Wow.
And that's just a great sign.
Right.
Brooke, was a 3-rotation outside hitter at the end of last fall, and she worked really hard all spring on her serve reception and defense so she could play all the way around. And in particular worked on some hitting mechanics out of passing. We wanted her to be a primary passer, and she made some breakthroughs later in the spring, and then I know had an incredible summer working out and practicing, and the things that she's doing right now, we didn't see at all last fall from her. It's really a testament to how hard she's been working.
Well, you're going to hit the road for a little while, and then you're going to come home and you're going to find out what being a head coach at USC is all about. You're going to play UCLA on September 19. People can get tickets at usctrojans.com/tickets, and that will be a nice initiation into the rivalry for you. That's kind of a big one here. Brent Crouch, thank you for joining us for the first of many times here on Trojans Live. And if you like hearing coaches talk, there's my segue. You can hear Coach Helton Monday, September 10 at Monday Morning Quarterback. JJ's there, Chip Stewart, the whole crowd, John Robinson. It's at the Founders Room, 11:15 a.m. Monday, September 10. For more information or sign up online, go to usc.edu/Trojans. We're going to hear more from JJ, get his scouting report next on Trojans Live.